So I would win every single dance competition at the party. You know, it was so bad that when I would go to a party, they would be like, yeah, don't let Sid compete, because if he competes, he's going to win. And then that in itself now transitioned me to when I got to college. I was a friend of mine said, there were some guys doing some choreography in some hostel somewhere. They weren't getting it right. He's like, you go teach them. And then I went there and taught him that. And then from there, they just like, would you join the group? And then I joined the group. And then Tribesmen came to town and they needed dancers. And I ended up being a backup dancer for LD. And it was like, yo, you good. Can you come to Lagos and go on the road with us? So, you know, that's the genesis of.
Whoa, you gave me that so fast. Can you slow that down? Give me that story a little bit more. So where were you from? Actually, I should have asked that initially. Where was your university?
I was born and raised in Lagos, but I went to university at the University of Ibadan in Oyo State. I was studying dental surgery.
An odd choice, given what you told me.
My dad had a very specific plan to have a lawyer, a doctor, someone in oil and gas, and an accountant.
Okay.
So he pretty much got it. My sister has studied business and law. My brother's a geologist. My older brother did banking and finance, and I ended up in dental surgery. So, yeah.
He didn't want an actor?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. There's a funny story that happened later on in my career that, you know, kind of reiterates that. But no, he was definitely not looking for anyone in entertainment.
You're in university. LD and the Tribesmen are there, but I'm guessing this is when they were touring universities. So early days.
Yeah.
So did you know who they were?
Definitely. I mean, Sheikh Body was one of the biggest songs in Nigeria at the time. It was very fresh. You know, it was a new sound of hip hop. You know, it was English. It sounded very Western. You could relate to it like Biggie, Tupac, but then it was also very local at the same time. The content, the lyrics, the use of pidgin English was just unique in itself, and the production was very, very different. So, you know, you couldn't help. And they were promoting the album, so everywhere they went to, they were giving out CDs. Tapes. At the time, it was tapes. So you couldn't help it. And they were doing a show. I was in a group called Rock Force at the time, and Rock Force was probably one of the biggest dance crews in universities at the time. So yeah, that was the group that I went to teach. It was Men in Black. I remember that song. The song was Men in Black or Wild Wild West, one of the two, one of those Will Smith songs. So, you know, I was part of the backup dancers for Tribesmen in the University of Ibadan. The LD had called me and said, look, we want to go on tour. We want you to meet this guy in Lagos, and you guys can come on tour with us when we're doing shows. And that was it. The first major show we did was when I think Naughty by Nature came to Nigeria for a concert. And, you know, we did that, did Usher, you know, did a lot of, as a backup dancer for Tribesmen at the time. And it was interesting times. So skipping a lot of school, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you were probably excited to do that at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it was, you know, they always say in life that if you could pay doing what you would do for free. I could dance at that time for days. I just enjoyed it. It was just something. The expression of music through body movement was just something that I loved, and you know, I would have done it for free. And you know, the passion was there. I enjoyed it. I was having so much fun. So why not? And you got to see Nigeria on the road. So hey,
what did your parents think?
They didn't know.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't know until there was a gig Tribesmen had. It was a television station called AIT, or Dark Human, or the AIT, yes. And they were doing their 3rd anniversary, and apparently it was going to be broadcast live on television. So I'm thinking to myself, I've been doing this for like maybe a couple of years. How am I going to tell my father that or I just sit down and my dad is watching TV and just sees me on television? That is going to be a disaster. So I called him and I said, oh, look, you know, I've been doing this dance thing, and, you know, there's these guys that are going to be performing at this, and I might be performing on the show. The show eventually got canceled. They didn't do it. But my brother, who was at home at the time, he told me that my dad came home from work that day, sat down and said, your brother said he's going to be on TV today. Let us see if he's doing what I sent him to do in school or if he's on TV. I pray he doesn't show up. I was like, my God. So if I had shown up on TV that day, I might have been toast.
And in a way, you outed yourself without needing to.
Yep. It was just like unnecessary exposure.
So did that make it harder after that to continue doing it? Or at that point, were you just in it?
I mean, I kept on. My grades were good, you know, at the time. I was doing well in school. I mean, and doing that, you know, I'd met a lot of the artists that are, you know, considered legends today. I mean, P Square, the Plantation Boys back in the days, you know what I'm saying? Daddy Freeze, Daddy Shoki, you know, a lot of the earlier artists. And I'd done some big shows, you know. It was just for me like living a dream at the time.
And this was as a dancer, right? So how did you transition into rapping?